Today, I have a very special guest, and we're going to talk about MUN, and he will share ultimate tips with you about MUN. Hello, thank you so much
Hi,
for
Mr.
joining me today. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Ashad?
I'm Ashad. I'm from Pakistan, but I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, and I moved to Turkey approximately like 3 to 4 years ago. I was studying in a school very near my house. Wait, can I name my school?
No, no,
I can
you
name
don't
my
need
school, right?
to. Just
Yeah. I've been studying in Istanbul. I just graduated a couple weeks ago. Alhamdulillah.
congratulations. Oh, you're done.
Yeah.
Thank you for signaling me to ask my question. All right. Tell me about your graduation. How did you feel about it?
The graduation was amazing. Being in my school, I was a student council member and I was constantly working on events, this, that, and then all of it culminating into the graduation. Well, I had a speech there too. Alhamdulillah, it went really good. And I guess side by side, MUNs helped me doing that speech. It helped me doing have the personal confidence. And just in general, the graduation was it was amazing. I have no words for it. I was speechless.
That
There were
is
people crying left and right. It was amazing.
really, that's good to
Yeah.
know that. To be honest, in my questions that I prepared for this interview, I would ask you about the effects and influence of MUN in your real life. So I want you to go deeper into those points and specifically about your
Mm.
graduation. That would be great. Um,
MUN's been integrated into every part of my life, basically. Even though I've barely gone to MUNs, but so many of my people, my friend group have gone to MUNs a lot. And it's I read their study guides with them to prepare for an MUN. I prepare before them and then we following up with each other during the MUN, live updates. It's really fun. I mean, it helps you think more critically, think deeper about topics that people don't even really pay attention to, right? And find real world problems, all this. It even helped me when I was a student council member. A lot of responsibilities on your hands at that point, right? And MUN, it puts you in a situation where you're constantly stressed and thinking about certain topics, right? And it's made me more easily combat all the problems that came up to me in let's say setting up an event, organizing an event. I've used MUN connections and MUN, let's say it's a word called lobbying, right? Where you basically talk to people and convince people to do something that you want. And I basically used that in real world situation. It's been alhamdulillah, it's been really good.
That's great, great. To be honest, again, you gave a very good overview of the MUN, and I appreciate it. That's great. So now our audience also would know what MUN is. Now, let's just go back about your journey from Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey from Saudi Arabia to Turkey?
Yes, I wanted to add. I suppose you know how in MUN you meet such a diverse group, right? Diverse group of people, people coming from different walks of life, right? And being a Pakistani who was born in Saudi, and I've always gone to Saudi and Pakistan all the time, right? And going in Saudi, my lifestyle was a very isolated lifestyle. I wouldn't be talking to too many people. My social skills were restricted. Why? Only reason is because language problems. Language barrier is one of the biggest problems that anyone could face, and MUN helps you overcome all of it, right? And whenever I'd see one extreme in Saudi, and I'd go to Pakistan and I'd see the other extreme where I'm extremely social, but there's a lot of problems with being extremely social. Like if you're too social, people don't like you, and then you suddenly you learn to use, not, I wouldn't say use people, but use your abilities to convince people to do something. Right. And it's basically what an MUN is. You need to convince people to agree with you, even if it's diplomatic, even if it's manipulative.
That was a very good point that you mentioned, and especially also comparing yourself with before MUN and after MUN. And also this,
Oh, it's like two different people.
yeah, that these skills that you also just developed in MUN that helped you in your social life as well. So MUN is not just an academic event, so it also helps people.
I see MUN as like a hub of sociality. Like people come, okay, obviously there's like the academic aspects of it, but the social aspects, this thing that a person gets that like basically you integrate into your real life, like every day-to-day interactions, that's like forever with you. That stays forever with you. Academic aspects, obviously, you get a lot of critical thinking skills. You start actually like analyzing problems deeper and trying to. It helped me research more. My bad, my train of thought just left. It helped me research a lot more because, okay, when I was in school, I would, okay, look at maybe one source, two source, three source, boom. That's it, right? But during my like two, three MUNs, I've learned how to properly research about a topic and how to summarize all of that. Because, okay, obviously, a lot of topics would be really hard, right? And I'd have like 11-page documents, and I'd be like, where do I start reading from? And just MUN has helped me like, I turned that 11-page document into like 5-page document, and boom.
That's really good. Now, it is great that you also shared all these experiences. Now, I'm also curious about the beginning. What motivated you to participate in MUN conferences? Just go back a few years ago that you had no idea about MUN. What motivated you in the beginning?
I'll be honest, it wasn't even like a wish from myself. I honestly just got completely peer pressured into it. All of my friends, because they used to go to MUNs a lot, right? And they're like, look, everyone's going. You gotta come, you gotta come, you gotta come. And I was the biggest problem. I wasn't even stressed about the public talking anything. Like it's too expensive, man. It's too expensive. I won't come, right? But I think that that was one of the best investments I've ever made. People think like, oh, 600, 700, 800. They're not these are normal prices for MERs, right? And they're very worth prices, right? And doing all of this, it comes into play. Like when I went to my first MUN, I was the first day at least, oh, I was very, very, very awkward, right? I was stuttering, I couldn't know how to speak. I stood up like when they called my name, I raised the motion. When they called my name, my legs were shaking, right?
Really?
My voice was going up and down. I was very because even though I looked like an extroverted person in a completely new setting with all these serious people, you feel like, oh, they're gonna make fun of you. But no, it's everyone's first time too. Everyone's gone through it and everyone understands where you've been, right? And it's you from that, I understood MUN isn't about just, let's say, academic. This is more about like family. Because the people that I've met there, some people, it's been like, what, 2 years now? And these people I'll still talk to this day. And we've met maybe like three times, four times. That's it.
That's good. That's great. And it was good that you also shared that first experience. Let's just talk about your experiences and challenges in the beginning a bit more. Could you share your first experience at the MUN in Turkey from the beginning till the end?
Basically, okay. So I get peer pressured into going to the MUN. I'm very reluctant. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna study. No, I'm not gonna study. Subhanallah, somehow I got like I'm like, no, I'm gonna waste money. So 3 days before the MUN, I started prepping, right? And I didn't know what I was doing. I was reading the study guide. I was looking at a Wikipedia page. I was doing this. I was doing that. I didn't know what I was doing, right? Half an hour before my first session started, I found out that I had to write an opening speech, right? So I sit there in the bathroom. I had to hide in the bathroom and write the opening speech and come into the session late. It was a complete mess. Somehow though, it still worked out. It was UNODC, the committee. It was alhamdulillah, it was a very like it was a committee that I was like really connected to because it was about drugs and crimes, right? And coming from Pakistan, I've seen like every aspect of I guess crime, even though it isn't like I'm not saying this in a bad manner, but it's like I've seen extremities, right? And coming into UNODC, I put my real world like problems into UNODC and they helped me come up with solutions, right? And the agenda item I think was about um, ghettoization, the ghettoization of kids, right? And dealing with that again, MUNs, they bring up problems that you almost also face in real life, right? And let's say ghettoization of the kids. This is a problem that we're facing right now. A lot of kids, they're thinking that they're, let's say, quote unquote, gangsters, right? And thinking that they're like, bigger than they actually are, even not in like a derogatory sense. Nonetheless, we worked in that. I had a couple of friends inside my committee with me, like I had five people in my committee, like from the same school, and the first day, I was very silent. I couldn't speak at all. Second day, though, I don't know what happened. Some ghost possessed me, and suddenly I'm the leader of the MUN. I'm speaking, 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 left, right. We started working on the resolution, the draft paper from that day, and it turned out good. But there was one, like there was a Turkish guy. He was from like the Navy, right? Or like some military school, and he was extremely prepared, right? And then you start like feeling the difference between an actual prepared person and someone like a first timer. But like that made me at that time feel like inferior. But now where I am, I wouldn't feel inferior because it's like he's had his experiences, I've had mine experiences, and he wouldn't think the same as you do. That's why everyone's input is like very, very needed. You know what I mean? Second day I did this, it went good. Third day I was actually we were completely late. We got on the wrong bus to the thing because it was like 2 hours away.
Yep.
The university was 2 hours away. We were an hour late to the first session. We missed the thing, and the chairs were very mad at me. They're like, "What happened? Why weren't you here? You were supposed to go." Because I was supposed to raise like a very good motion that the chairs talked to me about that day. Nonetheless, it went good. We drafted the resolution paper. Our committee was actually the best committee in that university at the time in the MUN.
That was great. And thank you for sharing also those details because a lot of students, the first timers, may have the same feeling. For example, when you said that you felt inferior to a more experienced one. So it is absolutely fine, as you mentioned. That's really good. Now, I want to also know your perspective on, for example, crucial things let's say for MUN, new MUN delegates. Which skills do you believe are crucial for succeeding in MUN? And how did you develop those skills yourself?
I had this saying that I heard that fear and inferiority are temporary, right? And people, whenever they come into like a new setting with different people, they get scared off, they get intimidated. And this is completely like there is no need for you to be intimidated from like such a family place like an MUN, right? Of course, everyone has their nervous issues. I am very nervous in like a new setting, but you just have to be able to present yourself the best as you can, right? If you can show off your ideas, the only thing that you need is that you can like express your ideas to the chairs and to the other delegates, right? Other than that, people skills, lobbying. Lobbying is I told you it's like basically like trying to convince people to get on like your idea, right? And being able to hold your ground. That is the most important thing because people are gonna come. Okay, you're convincing people, but they're also gonna try and convince you, and you have to hold your ground and die on that hill. You have to die on that hill. If you die on that hill, everyone's gonna come to you no matter what,
Mhm.
right? And it's been actually one of the biggest because you have to like the self-confidence that you need. A lot of people don't have that. I didn't have that the first time, and it was something that I had to build in myself from looking at other people, right? Be inspired from people. Don't fear other people. Don't be intimidated by people, right? And analyzation and seeing how what people are gonna do. Because some people, right? Some people like my dear friend himself, Mahmoud, they use tactics that make you think, oh, you're doing something wrong. You wouldn't even you could be just sitting down and they make you think that you're doing something wrong, right? And you need to know when someone's doing that to you. Because a lot of people completely misfire that. You gotta like analyze people and analyze the topic even more in depth.
That was also a really good point, the pieces of advice that you've given. But however, I'm just curious if you have any other advice for first timers. What advice would you give to students attending their first MUN or the ones who are not sure about the MUN, attending the MUN?
MUNs are gonna be the best thing that you will ever attend. Going there, the first time at least, throw the academic aspects out of the window, right? Do not stress yourself out about the academic. Connect with people, talk to people, and understand. After you talk with people, you're gonna get inspired by their passion for the topic in your committee. You're gonna get inspired, and you're automatically gonna want to work more. Like you're gonna want to work more in depth with them for your draft paper, right? For your solutions, right? And it's like especially in a committee that you're like connected to, like let's say the Security Council or the UNODC like I went to. you like, at least for me, crime, drugs, these are problems that my family, my people, and my race have dealt with a lot of times. It's people nowadays even deal with it, right? And if you have any sort of compassion for them, you're gonna want to like work towards them, right? And this is putting you in a simulation. MUN is just gonna put you in a simulation. Maybe let's say 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, you're actually working towards bettering that problem, right? And even in, let's say, like crisis committees inside an MUN, you, if you just go there, even if you're like scared, like, oh, what am I gonna do? You're gonna go to a crisis committee. You're gonna have the funnest time of your life. You're gonna have the best time of your life. Actually, like the GAs that I've went to, they were very, yes, they were fun. They were very like strict rules, 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 right? You go to a crisis, everyone's just standing up. There's people screaming. There's a sword being pulled out of the side. Something's happening all the time, right? And that, I guess, you're just gonna be like more spontaneous. Spontaneity is the goal for everyone inside of an MN. I think this, like, everyone should look forward to an MN instead of fearing it.
That was also a very good point that you mentioned in the beginning, that you should do it. If you are a student and you want to just develop yourself, your academic and personal skills, definitely you should attend at least one MUN conference in your high school life. Now, let's talk in the beginning also, you mentioned how MUN helped you in your personal life. But now I want you to go just deeper about its effect on your academic growth and personal life, personal growth.
Okay, basically, like how I told you, I learned how to like analyze topics and research topics more like efficiently, right? And even let's say like in like whenever I'd get like a project, I'd always be like very shocked, like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, do I search this? Do I search that? Do I search this? Do I search that? It was very like all over the place, right? I mean, I guess it made me more easily and more efficiently, more precisely even search about a topic and search about like all of the aspects of a topic. And MUN, it makes you think about the disadvantages and advantages of certain like topics, right? And even if you like deal with something completely like, oh, a Shakespeare poem, right? Like analyze a Shakespeare poem, you're still gonna be analyzing something and it's like depth meaning. That's why I said you gotta realize what people are saying, right? You got to analyze what people are saying. If they're manipulating you, whatever, you use that in the Shakespeare poem. You're like, okay, what is Shakespeare saying here? What is blah, 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 right? And personally, I suppose it's built a sense of responsibility inside me. Most of the times, like I said, I had self-confidence problems earlier when I was like a couple of years younger, but lobbying, making personal connections, talking to people, and again, holding your ground, it's kind of not made me, it's kind of forced me to build that self-confidence, right? You force yourself and you adapt. And that's the biggest advantages of MUN, like coming into your real life problems, you adapt to things way quicker.
Mm-hmm.
New problems coming left, right, center, especially in crisis committees, since they're always like there's updates every session, like four or five updates every session. So you're always boom, new problem, boom, new problem. So in real life also it's the complete same. Like you're gonna walk into, let's say you have to go exchange money in the bank. ATM's closed, other ATM's closed, other ATM's closed. The banks are closed. How are you gonna exchange money? So you start thinking, okay, this, that. I know it was like a bad example, but like you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was also a good point, because it also helps, I think, students to be more creative and just a problem solver, which is just
Exactly.
the key. And before this interview, also I asked my subscribers on my channel, and they asked also some questions. I want to also ask those questions here. And one of them asked to you, or let me just put it in this way, how to become an outstanding delegate in an MUN.
How to become an outstanding? Okay. You can't expect to achieve the best result completely like going in blind, right? You have to have some sort of preparation. MUNs especially, you can't treat them like a joke. If you actually want to win an award, you have to prepare 45 days beforehand. Proper prepare every inch of the topic. Look at the study guide, everything inside of the study guide, make notes about it, right? And everything, like let's say in my study guide in one of the MUNs, the crisis committee, they told us what every other delegate's name was, or what like every other delegate. So I didn't just prepare about my own what's it called? My own position. I researched about everyone else's position on the topic too, right? And it makes you think like, okay, you can use this to your advantage. You can use this to your advantage. You can convince this person because your country already has good relations with them, right? If you can just like basically, it isn't even about what's it called, like being a lot of prepared. It's even if you okay, let's say you don't go in prepared, right? Let's say you don't go in prepared. If you don't have the skills to make stuff up, even make stuff up in the moment, then you won't be able to win. You have to have that skill, or you have to be prepared. And being able to express yourself more properly, that's I guess like the core principle of an MU. If you can't express yourself, then the other person's not going to get your idea.
Very good pieces of advice. Loved it. And my last question, again, one of my subscribers asked about resolution paper. Have to write a perfect resolution paper.
There is no such thing as a perfect resolution paper. A perfect resolution paper is basically a miracle because there is no, let's say, okay, in one of my committees, I was in spec poll, and normally the entire committee is working on one resolution paper, maybe two resolution papers, right? Spec poll, we had 4 different resolution papers because no one could convince anyone. People were screaming from the right side, people were screaming from the left side. It was a complete mess, right? The only thing you need to do is the people that are on your block. These sides are called blocks, right? Like your group, this country, it's called a block. So everyone inside of my block, we basically did this thing. We gave everyone papers. We assigned topics to them. We're like, okay, talk about how to improve this. You talk about how to improve that. You talk about how to improve this. And we made like teams. Everyone wrote down the solutions, and we all wrote them in once. And only one person or 2 people should write the resolution paper. Like they should take everyone's ideas and properly word them out. Because a lot of the times, this MUN study guide, it gives you the rules of procedure. I mean, it gives you the template of resolution paper, right? But people can't expressing themselves. They can't express the complete idea properly in the words. So people who've already experienced writing a resolution paper, they're going to be able to phrase sentences more better, like for the Secretary General to read, right? And oh yeah, a very important point is your preambulatory clauses should be really good. They should be really good because they're like the initial starting of any MUN any resolution paper.
That's great. Thank you so much. That was great. And it was an amazing interview. To be honest, I also enjoyed myself because you shared the effects and influence of your MUN in your personal life, in your academic life, and have you developed yourself in the past few years. And I'm sure that in your future endeavors, you will use all these skills at university. Now, as the last item of this interview, would you like to add anything or any advice, any suggestions for people or any other things?
The only thing I'd like to say, I think, is never fear social interactions. Do not fear people. A lot of times people back off from opportunities. MUN is the biggest opportunity that anyone will ever have. Me, just going to 3 MUNs, I'm already addicted, right? It's like an addiction. It's almost like a drug, right? You go there and it's okay. Obviously, some first timers, they're not going to enjoy the first time. They're going to be scared the entire time. But you need to force yourself to go. And you need to be there with people that you enjoy your company with. So yes, okay, inside the sessions, you get fun. But in the breaks, you also have fun, right? Never fear social interaction. Always make friends. Some of the friends that I've made in an MUN, they've been the closest people to me now. Again, I told you 2-3 years down the line, they're almost some of my best friends. It's been really good though.
That's great. Thank you so much. It was great. That's it for today. And I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me today, Ashad. It was a great one. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on another video and another probably podcast with you. We also recorded a podcast with Ashad. If you haven't watched or haven't listened to it, you can just click here and watch and listen to that podcast as well. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again in another video.